Hi there and welcome to your yoga class. Today we're doing some yoga for swimmers. So we're going to be focusing on strengthening our abs and our back and increasing mobility in our hips and our hamstrings. Really a bit of an all over workout this one. It's perfect for preparing you to go even faster and longer in the pool. So we will get started. We're going to start down on our back in a reclined pigeon pose. So lying down on your mat, your feet are about hip width apart and you're going to take your right leg and cross it over. So your ankle's quite well over, your knee there, foot is flexed, and this knee here, this right knee, send it away, really press it back and you'll feel that opening up your hip. Now you can stay here if you want to stay here, or you can lift that left leg and hold onto the thigh as well. What you should be feeling is a lovely big opening in your right hip here. If you want to, you can hold onto the shin as well, it's up to you. So you may be here or you may be down here. It just depends on your hip mobility. So we're focusing on opening up this hip, just nice and gently, and trying to breathe in and out through your nose, nice big deep breaths into your belly. That's it, and then bringing that foot down. Let's do the other side. So left foot across. Now make sure that ankle's right across, make sure the foot's flexed. This protects the ankle joint, okay? And rather than having this left knee in at the chest here, send it away. Now it might not go right back, but as long as you're sending it away, okay? And lift up that bottom leg if you fancy, if that makes it a bit more of a stretch for you, that's fine. And you can also hold on to your shin as well, okay? But try and keep your tailbone on the floor, okay? So if you're holding on to your shin and your tailbone's up off the floor, come back and just hold on to your thigh here or come down here. So nice big breaths, you should be feeling it just right here in these hip flexors, right in the hip as well. Really nice for opening up the hips. So from here, we're going to bring our feet down. Now keeping that back pressed into the floor, we're going to bring our legs up. Now try and have your shins parallel to the ground if you can. We're going to clasp our hands gently. Now we're not going to be raising our head up here. We're just clasping them gently, okay? And they're just gently supporting the head, not wrenching it up or anything like that. And we're going to be coming up, curling up the shoulders off the floor. Okay, now you can stay here if you want to. But what you can do as well is you can do some bicycles. So we're not bringing both knees in and out, which we normally do, but you're going to twist to the left. Now you can stay here if you want to, or what you can do is add in, you can straighten out that right leg, but keep the left leg where it is. Bring that back up into the middle, and you can come down for a little rest if you want, or you can keep that tension on, twist over to the right, and let the left leg come out and hover. Okay, just an option. Back into the middle again. Have a rest if you want to. Other than that, come up, twist to the left. That's it. Right leg comes down and hovers. No resting on the floor. Coming up again. And then twist to the right. Left leg comes down and hovers. That's it. And then coming up to the middle again. Let your shoulders come down. You maybe want to bring the knees into the chest. Okay, you should be feeling that in your hip flexors and your abdominals. Great for strengthening them. Okay, and then what we're going to do now is raise our legs to the roof. Now have them as straight as you can. That doesn't mean to say they have to be completely straight. Okay, you might be in this sort of position, because what we're trying to do here is stretch the hamstrings if you can. You should feel that. Imagine pressing the ceiling away. Okay, now you can stay like this. Or what you can do is you can raise your hands up, and as if you're trying to touch your toes, okay? You're just going to raise up. Now you might not touch your toes, but as long as your shoulders and your head is off the mat, that's it. Feel that in your core. Staying here for 3 nice long breaths. Okay, as I say, it's not about touching the toes, it's about feeling engagement in your core and stretching your hamstrings. So just another breath or so. And then coming back down. Doesn't that feel lovely? Have a lovely big long stretch. Stretch out your feet and your hands like this, and we're going to rock up, okay? So bend your knees. Now you can get up any other way you like, of course. We're coming to sitting, but what you can do is put your hands behind your thighs and have a couple of goes if you don't come up immediately. So we're going to be doing a butterfly pose next. What that means is your feet are together like this and knees are coming out to the side. Now you can put blocks under here if it's a bit too stretchy for you. And I'll turn to the side to show you how we're going to be folding forward. Now you can stay here, make sure this back is nice and straight, okay? You've got a wee diamond in between your legs here. Now you can hold onto your feet or your legs actually, keep the back straight and hinge forward. So see how straight the back is. You might only come forward a tiny wee bit. It's not about getting to the floor, it's about feeling that opening up in between your thighs here, okay? And you'll feel a little bit of a stretch in your lower back. Okay, but what we're going to do now is we're actually going to curve our back over. So we've hinged forward, and then what you're going to do is let your head just come forward. See how the spine is curling over. Take these hands at the front, top of the hands, just pop them on the floor wherever they come to. But now we're still stretching the inner thighs like we were, and we're also getting a really nice back stretch here. So you should feel this all the way from the lower back, really right up to the shoulder blades. So it's really, really nice for stretching it all out. Letting your head do the work, really. If this is a passive stretch, you shouldn't be pushing anything at all. That's it. Taking nice, deep breaths, feeling the opening in your inner thighs and feeling a nice stretch up your spine. And you shouldn't be forcing anything at all, letting your head bring your body down, and it does not matter how far you're coming down at all. So gently, just walking your hands back up. So from your butterfly position, what we're going to do is bend our knees, put your feet about hip width apart. We're going to do a reverse tabletop, and I'll give you a bit of a harder version as well if you want to. Hands are about hand length behind you, and you're going to push your hands and your feet into the mat and bring your bottom up, pushing that bottom up. You can have your head back, don't let it just drop though. Have it nice and controlled and drop that back last, okay? Big shoulder opening this one, or if you want a bit more of a challenge, point these toes, keep the hands where they are, point the toes, and you're going to come up into this version. Pointing the toes towards the floor, dropping the head back afterwards, nice and controlled, lifting that bum up as much as you can and lowering back down, okay? Really good one for the core, that one. And your shoulders, it's a big, big shoulder opener, that one, isn't it? So we're going to come into a tabletop position now. Tabletop, hands are nice and splayed on the floor, shoulders above your wrists, hips above your knees. And we're going to do a couple of cat-cows here. So that means inhaling, your head comes up and your tummy comes towards the floor. Really good for flexing the front of your body and having a little back bend as well. Then exhale, chin towards your chest and push that upper back towards the ceiling, okay? And your shoulders and your hips aren't really moving here, so it's really good for mobility, this one. Inhaling the way up. Exhale, coming into cat. Really nice for mobility and getting a lovely flexion to the front of the body and a stretch to the back as well. So get into a nice wee flow here. We're just doing a few. Okay, lovely for getting the spine active as well. So coming back to a neutral tabletop, nice straight back. We're going to come into puppy dog pose. So those hips stay where they are and you walk your hands forward. So you're leading with your chest. We're not just dipping our head to the floor. We're leading with our chest here. Now you might only come down to here. See how far you come. That's what's available to you. It is what it is. Just bring your chest towards the floor. You might have your head on a block. You might have your forehead on the floor. Or you might have your chin on the floor as well. Okay, but those hips stay the same. Okay, remember to pad up your knees if it's sore on your knees. And feel that lovely big stretch at the front of your body. Nice and relaxed. Try and breathe into it. And feel the stretch. And this is opening up your shoulders as well. Let's not forget about them. Your shoulder blades, you'll feel that all around your shoulder girdle actually. Really nice stretch. So we're going to, from here, come onto your elbows. Bring your legs onto the mat, top of the feet on the floor. We're going to come into a Sphinx pose. So Sphinx means your elbows come in. You can have a 90-degree angle like this, if you like, with your elbows, or you can move your elbows forward if that angle in your back's just a little bit too much. So into Sphinx pose, press your toenails in to the carpet or the floor. and your feet can be as wide as you want. If they're wider, it's a bit easier on your back. If they're closer, you'll feel it, a bit more compression in your back. But that is what we're trying to feel here in your lower back. You should feel the compression in your lower back and that front flexion as well. And these shoulders are relaxed as well. Okay, if you want a little bit more of a stretch, you can put your hands out into the side a bit and come into seal pose, okay? Pelvis is still pressing into the floor, as are the fingertips, and try and relax. There's a tendency here to clench onto the buttocks a bit, and I think it's the body's way of just trying to protect the lower back, but nothing should be painful, remember? Taking nice big deep breaths. And then from here, coming back in again, just coming into a nice child's pose. So put your big toes together, okay, knees out to the side of the mat, bring your bottom back as far as it's going to come, hands out the front and head on the mat and just relax. Nice counter pose for those little back bends that we've been doing. And just take a couple of breaths here. So from here, just walking the hands back up, come into tabletop. Okay, and we're going to come into a downward dog now. So tucking those toes at the back, hands are nice and splayed under the shoulders. Now pop the bottom up first of all, then come back. Now, downward dog, you can pedal the feet if you like. That's it. Or what you can do is bend your knees. So see how my back is nice and straight when I bend my knees, and your head is, your ears are sort of lined up with your biceps on this one. You're pushing the mat away with your hands at the front. Okay, so this is a really good position. Rather than just trying to get your legs straight and your back curved, straight back is always good. And then you can work on straightening the legs at a later date. So that the heels don't need to come to the floor, remember? So just stretching it out, stretching those hamstrings, lifting your tailbone, and then we're going to keep the hands on the floor and walk your feet to the front of the mat, okay? Feet are hip width apart or thereabouts. Okay, now taking your hands, we're going to clasp them behind our back, give them a nice stretch, bend your knees even more and fold forward. So we're stretching the shoulders again, opening up the chest, and you can be leaning on your thighs here, okay? If you want to straighten up the legs, you can do, but we're leaning the thighs, opening up, feeling a nice big stretch. That's it, and we're slowly going to press into the feet, tuck the chin into the chest. It can be a little bit dizzying. Come into the front of your mat and stand in a mountain pose. So your big toes are together for mountain pose. Hands facing forward, shoulders nice and relaxed, and it's a good just time to reset. So nice big deep breaths, feeling nice and grounded with your feet into the mat, ready for the next bit of your practice. So from here, in your mountain pose, you're going to put your hands on your hips, okay, and we're going to step the right foot back, okay? So just stepping it back as far as you can and put the knee down, okay? So we're in a sort of low lunge. Now you can have this boxy position if you want, or what you can do is just move the back knee back, because we want to keep this knee above the ankle, certainly not in front of the ankle. Back toes can be tucked or down like that. That's it. So we're in our low lunge. Feel your hips drop, okay? Getting this really nice stretch between your thighs here. That's it. And then what we're going to do is put your hands in the mat, move your hips back, straighten this front leg, and the heel comes to the floor, presses into the floor, and the toes are pointing up. So we're in a half splits now. So you're feeling a lovely big stretch up here. Okay, hands are just really wherever is comfortable, as long as you're feeling this stretch. And your knee can be a little bit bent as well. It doesn't need to be completely straight. Okay, so coming forward again, keep your hands on the mat. You're going to tuck the back toes here and come into a low lunge with a straight leg, like a runner's lunge. So again, letting those hips drop, we're going to come into an easy twist. So put the right hand on the floor and the left hand up. So the rotation in the chest is really important here. Press into the floor. Your legs haven't changed at all, remember? And then bringing your hand back down. You're going to shift your left foot back in to plank pose. So just pausing here for a second. pushing into the mat. Your knees can be down as well, remember? Okay, and then from here, we're going to come into a side plank. So a couple of variations for you here. So you can either put that right knee down and come into a side plank this way. That's it. So this left foot is planted on the floor and you're coming up to a side plank this way. Okay, or if you want to, you can be in your full side plank. Okay, and what we're going to do in the side plank is we're going to bring our arm up, bicep to your ear, and just do some arm circles as well. Forward a couple of times. That's it, and then backwards. Lovely. Couple of times, and then put your hand back on the floor and then come back to downward dog. So feel free to pedal those legs again. That's it. Just feeling nice, a wee bit looser. Then we're going to come forward to plank again. Now you can have your knees down here if you want, or you can keep your elbows in, lower down, pause before the floor, and then come to the floor. Top of the feet on the floor, up to cobra. Okay, now half cobra is fine as well. Up to full cobra, shoulders nice and relaxed, arms a little bit bent, tuck the toes, and up to downward dog again. That's it. So walking your hands up to the top of the mat again, feet hip width apart, and we're going to do that lovely shoulder stretch again. So bend your knees, clasp your hands behind your back, straighten your arms if you can, and remember you can be leaning on your thighs here, and just come over as far as is suitable for you. Taking a nice couple of breaths. That's it. And then slowly tucking the chest and coming up again and coming to that mountain pose at the front of your mat again. Palms facing forward, nice straight back and nice relaxed shoulders. Just getting hold of your breathing, if your breathing is getting a little bit faster. And then this time, hands on the hips, we're going to step the left foot back. We've got to do the other side, haven't we? So we're back in the lunge and you're putting this back foot down, remember, and adjust that back foot as you need to. Top of the foot can be on the floor, and sink the hips down first of all. As long as that front knee is not going in front of the toes. Tailbone really nice and heavy. And then we're going to put our hands to the floor and do those half splits again. So your hips are moving back, heels on the floor, toes are pointing up, getting a lovely hamstring stretch. Knee can be a wee bit bent as well, so don't worry about having a completely straight leg. It's about feeling the stretch in your hamstring. You should feel it right up to your hip as well. That's it. So coming back, just crawl your hands forward, tuck that back foot, so you're in that runner's lunge again. Again, feeling your hips. Your hips are always dropping when you're in a lunge and you're on the ball of your foot at the back. We're going to do that easy twist again. So that means putting your left hand on the floor, right hand up. And you'll really feel this in your right hip, just as you would have done in your left hip on the other side. Reaching up, really nice. And lengthen through your arms. Then hand back to the mat. Shift that right foot back and we're in plank pose again. Heels pressing back. Okay, now you can stay here if you want to. Or you can come on to your side plank. And remember, you can bend that knee and come up into a side plank that way, a supported one. Or you can have the full plank and bring your arm up next to your ear to bicep and circle your arms. That's it. Forward a couple of times and back. Keeping your arm nice and straight. That's it. Then putting your hand back in the mat. Pause in plank position just for a second. And then we're going to lower down. Remember, your knees can be down, elbows in, and lower to the mat. Pause before you hit the mat as well if you want to. Hands in at your rib cage. Coming up to cobra. Now, arms are still bent in cobra and shoulders are nice and relaxed. Top of the feet on the floor as well. and then tuck your toes in. And guess what? We're coming up to downward dog. So coming up again. That's it. And pedal the feet. So from here, what we're going to do is raise our right leg in there. Doesn't matter how far it comes up. Bend the knee, feel the opening in that quad and hip. And then what we're going to do is take this right foot here and we're going to bring it forward between our hands if we can. So bring it forward. Now, it might not get there. If it doesn't get there, just lift it up, bring it forward. So right foot is on the mat. The left foot is going to plant on the floor, about 45 degrees. And we're going to come up nice and strong to a warrior. Okay, adjust your feet if you need to. But if you drew a line from their heel, it should come to the arch of your back foot. So we're not leaning forward, torso's nice and straight, shoulders are nice and relaxed, looking over your front hand. And this is just good for the whole body, strengthening the legs, the torso, great for your shoulders as well. Keep them nice and relaxed. We're going to reverse the warrior, so that means putting this back hand on your thigh, turn the front hand over and reach up, 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 and then over. You can come into a wee back bend if you want, or you can just reach up. That's fine. As long as you're feeling your legs haven't changed, by the way, squat even lower if you can, but your legs haven't changed, just your torso. And then from here, take this front elbow, put it on your knee, and extend the other hand out. So you've got a lovely straight line from your fingertips down to that outside edge of your foot. You're not dumping your weight either on that elbow, but the outside edge of that left foot is really grounding in to the mat. That's it. So from here, we're going to come up to warrior two again. Legs haven't changed, okay? And I know it's quite a lot for your thighs, but you're opening everything. You're doing a lot of work here, okay? And then you're going to straighten that front leg, okay? Now you can bring this back leg in a wee bit, heel toe it in, okay? Hips are going to point over your front foot, okay? Because we're going to do a triangle pose. So arms out. And then what we're going to do is move over our front foot first of all, and then come down into a triangle pose. This is where your hips might pop, but as long as nothing is painful, that's fine. Makes my hips pop every single time. So the back of your hand can be on your calf, your finger, you might be holding on to your toe. But more importantly, traditional triangle pose, your arms up here. But what we're going to do is we're going to circle it forward a couple of times. And you're feeling that lovely big stretch in the front foot as well, front leg. That's it, and then circle it back a couple of times. That's it. Now you can bend that front knee a little bit if you need to. And when you've done your circles, come back to the beginning and then look down and push up nice and strong, okay? So turning your feet towards the centre, so they're nice and lined up, and then turn your left foot out, okay? Now move this foot back a wee bit. Your foot's about 45 degrees angles at the back, okay? And we're going to come into a warrior two, so bend the front knee, shouldn't be coming in front of the toes, and come into warrior on the other side. Looking ahead, grounding both your feet into the mat quite a lot. Breathing. And dropping your tailbone. So rather than sort of having a bendy back, we're having a nice straight back. So tailbone's always dropping. That's it. We're going to reverse the warrior. So back hand on your thigh, front hand up, lengthen, and then over. Keeping your breathing going, looking up if you can. Legs haven't changed, remember. And then taking the elbow at the front, coming into that lovely extended side angle pose, and looking up if you want to. But don't dump the weight. Feeling a lovely big stretch. That's it. And then coming up to warrior two again. Okay, legs haven't changed, remember. That's it. Now straighten that front leg. It doesn't need to be completely straight, remember. Heel toe the back one in a wee bit if you want to, but make sure your hips are now going to be pointing over that front foot for our triangle pose. So hands out to the side. And what we're going to do is move over the front foot first, then come over into triangle pose. So remember, the back of the hand can be in the calf. You might be holding on to your toe. Okay, feeling a lovely big stretch up here. And then we're going to do those circles with our arms forward couple one way, and then a couple the other way. Looking up or looking to the side, it's up to you. But make sure that right shoulder is coming back. And once you've done your two, come back to your triangle, looking down and coming up into the middle again. And then we're going to step to the front of the mat. So turn your feet sideways again and step up into mountain pose. So from here, we're going to inhale, raise our hands up, look at your thumbs. Exhale, forward fold, okay? So your knees might be bent and forward fold. Okay, inhale, straighten the spine, hands might be on the legs or fingertips on the floor. Exhale, hands in the mat, step back to plank. Pause here, and we're going to lower down again. So lowering down into chaturanga, pausing there if you want, or coming straight to the floor. That's it, coming to cobra pose, nice relaxed shoulders. And then from here, you're going to put your big toes together, knees out to the side of the mat, just like that child's pose we did before. Bottom back as far as it will come, and come into child's pose. Stretch off those glutes. They've worked quite hard for you today. That's it, just pausing here, letting the body wind down a little bit. And we really hit every part of the body on this one, strengthening and mobilising it. And then we're just very slowly going to come up and then come down and lie on our mats, just for a little second or two. And you might have done lots of yoga before, you might not have done any before, but this pose is called Shavasana. So put your feet to the outward edges of your mat. Let's let them flop open. Put your hands in the mat, top of your hands, and just lie there and relax. And this is your chance to sort of just recalibrate your body, give your body a chance to balance itself out and get all the good stuff from the practice that you've just done. So rather than warming up the body and then cooling down while you're rolling up your mat or you're going off to do something else, this just gives it a really nice chance to do nothing. So your breath isn't doing anything particularly special, it's just you're being as natural as possible, and that your Shavasana pose can be anything from a couple of minutes to half an hour if you want it to. So you're just focusing. I think a good thing to focus on is just how your body feels now after your practice. It's a challenge sometimes doing any sort of training or workout or yoga or run or anything like that. So well done if you made it to your mat and made it through. So just relax and letting your body melt into the mat just for a short minute or two. It's not for that long. And appreciating the stillness just for a second or two. And then slowly just starting to wriggle your fingers and your toes. And at this point you can really do anything to sort of bring the movement back in. You can stretch, you can bend your knees, do anything you like. And then you're going to roll onto your side, first of all. That's it, and then come up really slowly, slower the better. That's it. Coming to a nice seated position with your legs crossed, or another comfortable position, and your hands at your heart. So, just sitting for a minute with your eyes shut, just letting your body readjust itself. So thank you very much for joining me for your swimmer's yoga practice. I hope this practice heals and strengthens your body and your mind. Namaste. Thank you so much. So if you enjoyed this, please like the video and comment. Comments are always lovely. And subscribe to the channel as well, because there's new videos being uploaded all the time. And I hope to see you back here again very soon for your next yoga practice. See you later.